Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. Their Excellencies, the Right Honourable Dame Cindy Kiro, Governor-General of New Zealand, and Dr. Richard Davis.
Kina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki ta. E hia ke ana te ata kura, he tio, he huka, he hauhu, ti he maunga.
Please be seated. E ngā mana, e ngā reo, e ngā iwi o ngā hau e whā, tēnau aku mihi māhana ki a koutou. Nau mai, haere mai ki te whare, kāwana. Kia ora mai tātou katoa. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome you to Government House for this morning's investiture ceremony. I specifically acknowledge the Honourable Jan Tiniti, Minister of the Crown, Rhys Jones, Chief Executive, Fire and Emergency New Zealand, Bruce Stubbs, Regional Manager, Fire and Emergency New Zealand, Joe Harawira, Government House Kaumātua, Puhiwahine Tipple, Government House Kuia. Dr. Davis and I are delighted that we could host you here in person on this very special day for recipients, for your friends and your family. As Governor-General, I have the immense privilege, on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen of New Zealand, to confer the honours to which you are each entitled. It's very special to bring together such a diverse and extraordinary group of New Zealanders. Some of you have achieved national and international renown, while others are pillars within your communities, dedicating your lives to serving others. What you share is a positive impact that you've had on Aotearoa New Zealand. You've brought pride and a greater sense of well-being to our country. And for those things, I thank you. Today's recipients also share that defining New Zealand quality, a belief that anything is possible. And it's that strength of belief, that drive, that brought you here today. Ladies and gentlemen, after each recipient is honoured, I invite you to join with me in thanking and congratulating them for their service to our country. Ms. Catriona McLeod will now summon the recipients and read their citations.
Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Ms. Cynthia Bowers of Waipawa for services to the community and local government. Cynthia Bowers is involved with Hastings Landmark Trust, advocating for landscape history, architecture and public art. She was involved with Horse of the Year in Hawke's Bay, the largest annual national equestrian event, including time as chair. She was a councillor and deputy mayor of the Hastings District Council. She was a driver for the development of Roy's Hill, raising funds and helping plant 2,500 native shrubs to redevelop a dump site into a recreation area. She was on the board of Arts Incorporated Heratonga, formerly Creative Hastings, including time as chair and treasurer. Ms. Bowers was involved with the redevelopment of Hawke's Bay Opera House. Ms. Cynthia Bowers, please come forward. Ms. Vanessa Diru of Wellington for services to the community and gender rights. Vanessa Diru has served as Chief Executive for Volunteering New Zealand, Executive Director for the 2020 Trust, and National President of the National Council of Women of New Zealand, NCWNZ. She led the Council's Gender Equal NZ campaign and Suffrage 125 work programme. She led the NCWNZ delegation at the United Nations 70th session of the CEDAW Monitoring Committee. She has volunteered on charity boards and been a member of various advisory panels. She was a trustee of Trade Aid Wellington Trust and campaigned to make Wellington a fair trade city. Ms. Diru is a commissioner with the New Zealand National Commission for UNESCO and the Library and Information Advisory Commission. Ms. Vanessa Diru, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the Queen's Service Medal, Mr. Kevin Curtis of Matamata for services to Fire and Emergency New Zealand and the community. Kevin Curtis has been a member of the Matamata Volunteer Fire Brigade since 1975. He was Deputy Chief Fire Officer before taking up his current role of Chief Fire Officer. He is a member and former President of the Auckland Provincial Fire Brigade Association. He has supported Matamata Lions Club, Rotary Club, and Matamata Art Society projects. He's been a member of the Matamata Gun Club for 40 years, serving as a coach, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. Mr. Curtis has travelled with the Matamata shooting team and supported the running of secondary school shoots at the club. Mr. Kevin Curtis, please come forward. Mr. Neville Jacobson of Dannevirke for services to Fire and Emergency New Zealand and the community. Neville Jacobson has been involved with Dannevirke Fire Brigade for 57 years, maintaining more than 90% attendance rate for call-outs and training volunteers. He remains involved as curator of the Dannevirke Fire Service Museum and a brigade support member. He's been a Dannevirke Salvation Army volunteer for 47 years. He volunteered with St. John and was a scout leader. He was a member of search and rescue and civil defence teams. He raised funds to purchase defibrillators for local businesses. As a member of the Tararua Aquatic Community Trust, Mr. Jacobson fundraised to build a community pool. Mr. Neville Jacobson, please come forward. Mr. Gary Lang of Kaiapoi for services to Special Olympics and the community. Gary Lang was a founding member and treasurer of Southland Special Olympics, transferring to Eastern Southland Special Olympics as regional coordinator, then to North Canterbury Special Olympics Committee. He's been regional coordinator, treasurer and coach. He was assistant team manager and team manager at World Summer Games Special Olympics. He volunteers with Meals on Wheels Kaiapoi and was president of Waimakariri Combined Probus Club and New Zealand Society of Genealogists Waimakariri branch. Mr. Lang has been involved with Gore and Rangiora Rotary Clubs, Gore Community Watch, North Canterbury Radio Trust and Kaiapoi RSA, and as a volunteer firefighter. Mr. Gary Lang, please come forward. Mrs. Benita Robinson of Lower Hutt for services to the community. Benita Robinson has been involved with the leadership group of Victory Christian Centre, which led her to becoming centre manager of Lower Hutt Christians Against Poverty, or CAP. Through CAP, she provides at-home debt coaching and has organised social events and annual clothing giveaways. She's formed relationships with local businesses, leading to donations of goods and firewood. She is CAP's Network Partnership Manager for the Lower North Island. Mrs. Robinson held various roles on the board of the Stokes Valley Toy Library and volunteered with the Hutt Valley Kindergarten Association Board of Trustees, eventually becoming chairperson. Mrs. Benita Robinson, please come forward. Mr. John Sanderson of Rotorua for services to Fire and Emergency New Zealand and the community. John Sanderson was a professional firefighter with Fire and Emergency New Zealand in the Kawerau district from 1974 to 2018. Throughout that time, he was also officer in charge with the Rotorua Volunteer Fire Brigade. He was the Kawerau Fire Brigade delegate to the New Zealand Firefighter Professional Union. He chaired the Board of Trustees of Lake Rotorua Primary School and also undertook school ground caretaker roles. He helped build an obstacle course for the Rotorua East Lake School Cluster, coordinated fire safety programs for school children, and provided transport for events. Mr. Sanderson is a Justice of the Peace. Mr. John Sanderson, please come forward. Mrs. Rachel Utumapu of New Plymouth for services to Fire and Emergency New Zealand and people with cancer. Rachel Utumapu was Fire and Emergency New Zealand, or FEN's first female career firefighter in the New Plymouth Brigade. She is a senior trainer, coordinator, and member of the national management team for the Fire Awareness Intervention Programme. She was a founding member of the Women in Fire and Emergency New Zealand National Women Advisory Committee, and is a member and former chair of Te Upoko Region Women's Advisory Network. She manages the FEN's Women's Development Team. Mrs. Utumapu is Taranaki facilitator for Look Good, Feel Better, Facing Cancer with Confidence, and co-established the New Hair Project in New Plymouth. Mrs. Rachel Utumapu, please come forward. Your Excellency, the investiture has concluded.
Kia ora anō. Our honours system is New Zealand's highest public affirmation of outstanding individual achievement. It reinforces those things that make our society better: service, commitment, manaakitanga, and the pursuit of excellence. Recipients of these honours embody something quintessential about Aotearoa New Zealand. That it is our diversity, our differences of backgrounds, views, experience, and skills that ultimately bind us together and strengthen us. To our recipients, it has been a privilege to hear of your stories and achievements. You have each used your talents and abilities to improve the lives of your fellow New Zealanders. Your actions and the lives that you lead reflect the spirit of the words of Woodrow Wilson. You are not here merely to make a living. You are here in order to enable the world to live more amply, with greater vision, with a finer spirit of hope and achievement. You are here to enrich the world, and you impoverish yourself if you forget the errand. I urge you to wear your insignia with pride at every opportunity, knowing that your contributions are recognised and valued, and that you inspire others by your example. On behalf of the Queen of New Zealand and all New Zealanders, I congratulate you on your achievements, and I thank you again for your service to our country. Kia ora mai tātou, e hohi mai tātou katoa. Ladies and gentlemen, before we conclude the formal part of today's ceremony, I invite you to stand and join with me singing our national anthem in Te Reo and English. The words are on the back of the programme. Kia ora.